All right, cool. This is everyone. This is Steve Scott. I wanted to start by thanking you for joining us today. I know we're all living busy lives. We're writing books. We're marketing those books. So I appreciate the fact that you took about an hour or so out of your day to join us today. So today, Tom Corson-Knowles is going to do a great presentation on how to crack the code to becoming a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. So let me give you a quick bio of Tom, and then he's just going to dive right into the content. So Tom Corson-Knowles is the international best-selling author of 27 books, including the Kindle Publishing Bible. He's the founder of TCK Publishing, an independent publishing company specializing in digital marketing, and the host of the Publishing Profits podcast show. Tom has taught more than 40,000 authors how to write, publish, and market their books like professionals through his online training courses and programs. Today, Tom will be sharing the key lessons and insights that he has learned publishing more than 100 #1 best-selling books on Amazon in the past 5 years. Well, that's a brief bio on Tom. He and I have talked extensively pretty much since I have gotten started. He and I have been consistently pinging each other about what works with Amazon, so I know he knows a lot about the process. And Tom, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you do the talking.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It's great to be here, and it's great to have you all here. So today we're going to be talking about how to crack the code to becoming a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. And so my promise to you today is I'm going to teach you how Amazon bestseller rankings work. We're going to dive deep into the details so you can see exactly how the numbers work, exactly how Amazon's algorithm works, so you're not confused anymore. So you kind of takes the complete mystery out of publishing your books and launching a new book on Amazon, because you're going to understand how to find out how many books you need to sell to rank #1 in any category, how to find the best Amazon bestseller categories for your book. And I'm actually going to show you a tool you can use to calculate exactly how many sales you need to hit #1 in any category on Amazon. And by the way, there's over 28,000 bestseller categories on Amazon. So I'm also going to show you how to organize them and find them all as well. And I'm going to show you how to systematize this entire process to save you a massive amount of time, because this can be a very time-consuming process because Amazon has not particularly made it easy for us. And so that's why I created some amazing tools and training around this to just make this whole process so much faster and easier. And I know, Steve has talked about this quite a bit, like how he loves this tool because it just saves him so much time every time he's doing research for a new book. So if that's why you're here, please go ahead and please go ahead and type in the chat box if that's what you came to learn, because this is what I'm really excited about sharing with you guys. Awesome. Yes, that's it. Great. So let's go ahead and jump in. So one thing I want to let you know is that I love teaching, and I have a ton to share with you today. So at the very end of today's training, you'll have an opportunity to learn about my advanced tools, my advanced training courses for authors and publishers. But first, I'm going to thoroughly and completely deliver on my promise to you to show you how to get your book to #1 on Amazon. So I want to make sure you're prepared to learn as much as possible. So make sure you're taking good notes. If you do not have a notebook and pen with you right now, go ahead and run real quick, grab a notebook, grab a pen. Turn off any cell phones, TV distractions there are in the room. Try to get somewhere where it's quiet, you can really focus and concentrate, because I do talk really fast, and I apologize in advance. It's just kind of the way I'm wired. So please do your best to stay focused, because I do talk really fast. Now, if there's anything I say that you don't understand, that is too quick for you, just let me know in the comments. And at the end of the presentation, I will make sure to answer every question you have, give you all the resources you need to be successful. Also, if you have any questions as I'm going through the presentation, go ahead and just type them in the box as soon as they come up, and I'll answer all of your questions at the end. I'll make sure to stay as long as it takes to answer all your questions, make sure you have every resource you need to be successful. Now, for those of you who stay all the way to the end of the presentation today, I'm going to give you a special gift for free. It's a free copy of the book Marketing Bible, 39 Proven Ways to Build Your Author Platform and Promote Your Books on a Budget. So if you stay with me to the end, you'll have a special link to download the book for free. So real quick, I want to get to know you a little bit better. So have you published a book yet? Please go ahead and write in the questions box if you've written or published a book before. And if so, let us know, what is your book about? And be as specific as possible. So please, don't just say you're writing a romance novel. If it's a vampire, historical, time travel romance novel, like the more specific you can be, the more specific I'll be able to be when giving you advice in the training and actually walking you through demos of my entire market research process on Amazon, which we'll do later in the presentation. And if you haven't written a book yet, just let us know, what would you love to write about? And if you could have a book done in the next 30, 90 days, what would it be about? What would you love to write about? And so while you're sharing that, I see lots of great comments in the chat box. Thank you so much for that. While you're sharing your story in the comments, I want to share my story with you real quick so you can get an understanding of, who I am, where I came from, why I'm doing this, right? So, this is a picture of me 10 years ago. I was 19 years old. I was a freshman in college, and I was broke, but I loved to read. That was my passion in life, was just reading. Um, and I didn't like school. I didn't like education, but I love self-education. I love self-learning. And so even though I hated most of my classes in college, I loved reading a new book, getting a new book. And I found that books gave me the inspiration, the ideas to give me the courage to create a better life for myself. And so as I was going through this process, my classmates I was in business school. And so my classmates, their dream was to go to Wall Street. They wanted to become investment bankers. They wanted to earn six-figure income right out of college and work 100 hours a week in a cubicle. And their dream for me was like my nightmare. I could not imagine, working 100 hours a week in a cubicle on Wall Street, doing work that I didn't think made any difference or any positive impact in the world. And so I wrote down around this time a new dream, right? A new goal for myself and for my life. And that dream was I wanted to become a best-selling author. Because I'd been reading all these books and I had seen how these authors' books had changed my life and impacted my life. And I wanted to give back in the same way that these authors had given back to my life. And so I wrote down my goal 10 years ago. My goal that I wrote down was to earn a full-time income doing what I love, reading, writing, and sharing good ideas, right? That was my goal. And I didn't know anyone. There was no one in my life who I could go to for advice on this. There was no one in my life who was doing this, right? I didn't know entrepreneurs. I didn't know successful authors growing up. And so that was a big issue for me because I didn't know what I was doing. So when I wrote down this goal, it was a really scary moment in my life because I wanted to achieve this, but I had no idea how. And that was the problem, right? And I'm sure that's probably the problem you've had before in your life. Is like, I just had no idea how I was ever going to make that happen. I knew I had this goal. I knew I had this dream. I knew I wanted a better life for myself. I just had no idea how I was going to make it work. And so because I didn't know what I was doing, I failed miserably. And maybe some of you have gone down this route before, but I tried to get my first book traditionally published. And the problem was, I was a 19-year-old broke college student writing a self-help personal development book. And so agents and publishers basically just laughed at me, right? They wouldn't even respond to my letters, my emails, or phone calls for 6 years, right? No one wanted to take a chance on me and my manuscript. And so myself, 99.9% of authors who try to go the traditional publishing route just did not work. I never got a book deal and I failed. And so when I actually found out about self-publishing, I self-published my first book in 2012, everything changed for me and it changed really, really fast. Right? Just 1 year after I self-published my first book on Amazon, I was in the top 100 business and investing authors on Amazon. Here I am next to Robert Kiyosaki on the bestseller list on Amazon, who's, his book Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first personal development book I ever read. Amazing book. And so to be next to him, like one of my mentors, one of the people who made a huge impact in my life, to be next to him on Amazon, it was just a huge dream come true for me. And here I am next to Seth Godin, another great self-published author with an amazing message and who's helped millions of people all over the world. And then Brian Tracy, another guy who I've read so many of his books. I mean, he's got like 60 or 70 books, but I've read at least 20 of them. He's just a fantastic author, a fantastic educator who's really made a huge difference in so many people's lives. And so it's been an absolute honor for me to go down the self-publishing route, to have this kind of success, to be up there with my mentors who had a huge impact on my life when I was just starting out. Right. And so tonight I'm going to share with you what I learned along that journey, right? What I've learned in the past 5 years of publishing books. And everything I'm going to share with you tonight, these lessons and strategies are proven and tested. They're proven with my own books, with my clients' books, and they're proven with my students. I've taught over 40,000 students online how to write, publish, and market their books successfully. And so I'm not just sharing some stuff I came up with, brainstorming last night, right? This is stuff I've been working on for years that's proven to work again and again and again. And then today, not only am I a best-selling author, but I also run a publishing company called TCK Publishing. We publish over 400 books, and we publish books in all the major fiction and nonfiction markets. So even though I only write nonfiction personally right now, we've published many, many fiction books, many, many novels. And so I've got a ton of experience in all the different books, all the different markets. So my goal tonight is I want to save you 6 years of work and show you how I've used market research and bestseller category analysis to create hundreds of #1 best-selling books on Amazon. I think these are the two crucial steps that you have to go through anytime you launch a book on Amazon. And these are the steps that most authors just kind of gloss over. They either skip them entirely or they just kind of dabble at it. They just kind of, find the first category that you see on Amazon, you just pick that and you just go with it. But you haven't really thought through the process, and it's the process that makes all the difference, right? If you want to be successful in any area of life, you have to focus on the fundamentals of success. If you want to be a great basketball player, you better really practice dribbling and shooting and passing, right? Because those are the fundamentals of success in basketball. You can practice all the fancy moves all you want, but if you don't master the fundamentals, you will not be successful and you will not be able to earn a full-time income as an author. That's been my experience time and time again, working with so many different clients and students, is that the folks who try to get all fancy and they don't focus on the fundamentals, they're the ones who fail and are usually really disappointed. So let's talk about bestseller lists, because bestseller lists matter. They matter a ton. So selecting the right bestseller list for your book on Amazon to feature your book can increase your sales by as much as 173%. And I know this because at the publishing company, TCK Publishing, we have a lot of clients who have either self-published their book before and transferred their books over to our accounts, or they had a different publisher, maybe a small publisher or a medium publisher, and they transferred their books over to our accounts. And the first thing that we do every time we publish a new book on Amazon is we go through this market research process, this category analysis process, which I'm going to walk you through in a moment. And so the first thing we do is we switch over the categories. And so I noticed with a couple of books that we switched over from other clients that their sales just shot up really fast right away. And the only thing we had done, the only change we had made was simply selecting different bestseller categories, different bestseller lists to feature those books on Amazon. And Amazon started promoting the books and they got more sales, right? So selecting the right bestseller list is not guaranteed to double or triple your sales, but it can have a huge impact. And when you add up this one change with all the other things we're going to talk about, it can make a huge impact on your sales in the long term. So being a best-selling author, I want to talk about kind of the benefits real quick. So if you ever kind of dreamed of becoming a best-selling author, maybe some of you are there yet, some of you aren't there yet, but here's some of the things that it allows you to do. First of all, it allows you to sell more books, right? It's kind of like this virtuous cycle. The more books you sell, the more people find out about your books and the more books you sell, right? The higher you rank on the bestseller list, the more books you sell and the higher you rank on the bestseller list. And it sounds like obvious, and it sounds like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, right? Like, why do so many people buy 50 Shades of Grey? Like 50 million plus copies sold? Because lots of people bought the book, right? Why do people keep buying the book? Because lots of people bought the book. It's kind of this virtuous cycle. And so the thing is, like with the internet and with the way Amazon algorithms work today, you have to get featured. You have to have Amazon promoting you. If you're doing all the work and Amazon's not promoting your book, you're not going to be successful, right? You have to have Amazon doing the work for you, promoting you to their database of 100 million plus customers. Because if they're not doing that, you're not going to have great results, especially long term. And this, for me, this is all about long-term success, not just having a bunch of sales when you launch a book in a week and then all your sales fizzling out forever, right? The other thing that being a best-selling author can help you do is get book deals. And so we've done, foreign language rights deals. I know Steve has done this as well. So our books were just selling so well on Amazon that these other publishers from other countries basically came to us and said, hey, we'll pay you a couple $1,000s for the rights to publish your book in Chinese or French or German or Korean. And then we'll pay you royalties after the first printing if the book sells well, right? And that's like a 5-year deal. And there's a lot more details on that. But basically, I wasn't some kind of genius who knew that this stuff existed. I had no idea it even existed. But these other publishers from other countries just came to us because our books were selling so well. And that's the kind of opportunities that will come your way when you become a best-selling author on Amazon and when you sell a lot of books, right? The other thing is that it allows you to charge more for things like coaching, consulting, speaking. When I started coaching 6 years ago, I started coaching people about blogging and writing and online marketing and so forth. I was charging $100 an hour. All right, today I charge 10 times as much. I charge $1,000 an hour for coaching and consulting because I'm worth it, because I've sold so many books, because I've proven the value in the marketplace, right? So it makes a huge difference in your life in a lot of different ways. And the other thing about being a best-selling author that's so cool is that it allows you to track new opportunities effortlessly. And it's something that you can't really explain it. You can't really see what it's like to experience that until you actually are an author, right? And so one pro tip you definitely want to do is make sure that your email, your contact information, your website is posted in all of your books and your author bio on Amazon. You want to make it as easy as possible for readers to contact you, because sometimes they'll come up with some really cool opportunities. So to give you an example, a couple weeks ago, one of my readers read one of my books. they apparently they liked it. They recommended it to this large website. And this website said, hey, your reader recommended your book. They really liked it. We checked out your work. We love what you're doing. We'd love to promote you. And so they basically sent an email out to their audience and sent me 500 new customers in a day or two because of simply word of mouth. Someone read my book, recommended to a friend, and that opportunity came up. I didn't do anything to attract that opportunity. I didn't do anything to go out there and chase that opportunity. It came to me because I was a best-selling author, because my books were out there being read by people all over the world. And so those same kind of opportunities can come to you as well when you're a best-selling author. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually make this happen. Let's dive deep into details now and talk about exactly how Amazon sales rankings work. So this slide is really basic, and so some of you might already know this. That's okay. We're going to start with the basic fundamentals. Remember, the fundamentals are the key to success. I'm going to start with the basic fundamentals so that we're all get on the same page, and then we're going to go to the more advanced stuff and the more advanced strategy. But I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So even if you're brand new and you've never published a book before, you can still follow along every step of the way and get success and get results. So the first thing you need to know is that every single book on Amazon has what's called an Amazon best sellers rank. So number 1 is the current best-selling ebook on all of Amazon, right? And number 4.5 million is the worst-selling ebook on Amazon, right? And so the number 1 book is the best-selling book, then number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. And sales rankings update every single hour. So every single hour, Amazon is calculating the sales for the last hour. They're putting it into their algorithm, which tracks sales for the last 30 days. And so if the number 2 book on Amazon this hour sells a whole lot more books than the number 1 book on Amazon this hour, then the next hour when the sales rankings update, the number 2 book might take over that number 1 spot and they might switch places, right? So all the rankings are relative. So you don't need necessarily an exact number of sales to hit a certain sales rank on Amazon. What you really is a relative rankings, right? So in the last 30 days, we had Christmas, right? And Christmas, the holiday season is like the biggest, time for book sales on Amazon. So, we had a huge burst in sales over the holidays, right? And so the sales rankings are slightly changing, relative to each other because, Christmas related books and so forth are selling so much better during that time of year. So remember, the sales rankings update every hour and they're all relative. So if you want to be number 1 book on Amazon, you just have to outsell every other book on Amazon. It's not like a certain amount of books you have to sell to get number 1. That number changes based on the competition, based on what everyone else is doing during that time period. And so let me show you exactly what this looks like on Amazon. So if you go to any book page on Amazon and you scroll down the page, you'll see a product details section, right? And so you'll see stuff like the file size and the print length and the publisher and the language and all that. And if you scroll down here, you'll see the Amazon best sellers rank. And so when we took the screenshot, this book was ranking at number 1060 paid in the Kindle store. It's actually ranking much better now today. But just to give you an idea, the number 1060 paid in the ranking in the Kindle store, to achieve that ranking and maintain that ranking for 30 days, you need about 2,650 ebook sales per month. So this book has consistently been selling more than 2,000 ebook sales for the last year and a half. It's been absolutely crushing it on Amazon. And you can see the other rankings here. So it's number 1 in books, self-help memory improvement, number 1 in Kindle store, memory improvement, number 1 in Kindle store education and reference, okay? So that's how you kind of read the rankings, and that's where you can actually find the Amazon bestsellers rank on Amazon on any book page. And so if you don't see the Amazon bestsellers rank on a page, that means the book is probably not sold any copies yet. Now, the other thing is it could say number 1060 free in Kindle store, and that means that book is currently free on Amazon. And so I'm not going to talk about free rankings in this presentation. You really want to focus on paid rankings because unless you're selling paid books, you're not really making money. All right, so we're going to focus on the paid rankings. And the other thing we're going to focus on is we're going to talk about Kindle ebook rankings, right? And the reason is simply just for simplicity, right? So the difference is that, if you look at any rankings, you'll see this Kindle store ranking on Amazon. So this book ranks in the Kindle store, and then it says Kindle ebooks, and then these other categories, and this child category that you pick is called study skills. And there's also books categories. So the books categories are for physical books, print books, paperbacks, hardcovers, board books, etc. So books, if you see the books in the first section of the category rankings, that means it's for a physical book, right? And so we're going to focus just on the Kindle store rankings for today, just so it's really easy for you to follow along. Now, this exact same process I'm teaching you works exactly perfectly for physical books as well. In fact, all the data and tools and software I've created around this tracks Kindle book sales as well as print book sales on Amazon. But just to make sure we're all on the same page, during this presentation, when I'm talking about sales ranking, I'm just talking about in the Kindle store so that we're all on the same page, and all the numbers, when you check the numbers and everything, it'll all line up because we're just talking about Kindle sales right now. So here's one great tip you want to do. Whenever you're selecting your categories on Amazon, you want to make sure you're choosing 2 child categories and 2 different parent categories. So here's what I mean. So when you look at the category listings on Amazon, you can see the Kindle store, Kindle ebooks, and then under the Kindle ebooks, education and teaching, this orange category here, this is a parent category. What that means is it's a very huge category on Amazon. And now underneath the parent categories, there might be, a dozen, or there might be 5,000 different subcategories or child categories underneath these parent categories on Amazon. So some of the categories are pretty small and some of them are absolutely massive, right? And so underneath the parent category, you'll find subcategories. So underneath education and teaching, there's a studying and workbooks category, and there's a study skills category. And so this one is a blue category because it's a child category. And so the child categories are the actual categories you select. So if you've already published your book before in Kindle or in CreateSpace, you had to select a child category because Amazon requires you to publish your book. And so in KDP, when you select a category, that's the child category that you're selecting. And it's really important you choose great child categories because those are the ones that are easiest to rank for, right? Because they're the most specific and they're the most targeted to your audience. But the parent categories are really important as well. And so one great tip you want to do is make sure you choose 2 different child categories and 2 different parent categories if possible. And what that will allow you to do is basically just have your book listed in more categories. So for example, this book, Unlimited Memory, is listed in study skills, studying and workbooks, education and teaching. So that's 3 categories it's ranking for right there. It's also listed in education and reference and business and money. So that's 2 more categories. So we already have 5 categories that this ebook is ranking in just because we selected 2 different parent categories. Now, you can get as many as 18 different categories on Amazon listed in your books. I've seen books listed in as many as 18 different categories in the Kindle store and in the bookstore. So there's lots of ways you can have Amazon feature your book in more categories, but this is one of the easiest, simplest, fastest ways to do it is to select 2 child categories and 2 different parent categories. Now, the key is you want to make sure it's relevant. Right? You want to make sure it's relevant. So for this book, these categories are super relevant, right? So when we did the market research for Unlimited Memory, we found that there's 2 ideal buyers, 2 ideal types of readers for this book. So number 1 type of reader for this book was like students, college students, high school students, law school students, who want to get better grades and improve their memory so they can get better grades in school, right? And so the study skills category is like the perfect category to reach that demographic of reader. And those are a big portion of our readers on Amazon are students who want to improve their memory to get better grades. Now, we also have another kind of target customer, target demographic who's very interested in buying this book. And those are folks in business. So they tend to be business professionals like attorneys, accountants, salespeople who want to improve their memory so they can perform better in the workplace, so that they can impress their peers and clients and employers in the workplace by having better memory, right? And so these categories were selected not just because of the numbers, but because of the demographics, because of who our customer is and where we can find those customers on Amazon. So the number 1 thing you want to understand here is make sure that you're choosing the most relevant categories possible on Amazon, right? So if you're writing a romance novel, you're not going to put it in an education and teaching category, maybe just because it's easy to rank for. It makes no sense because your ideal readers are not browsing that category. So make sure your categories are relevant. And if you can find 2 different parent categories that are relevant to your book, like we have here, that's where you have that kind of sweet spot where you can have your book ranking in lots of different categories. And Amazon's basically promoting your book. Every time your book is ranking in a category, Amazon's promoting you more and more and more. And more readers are browsing these categories and finding your book and buying your book, right? Now, some other things you need to know is you need to aim for the top 100 ranking in every category on Amazon. So if you can't rank in the top 100 in your category on Amazon, you need to try and find another category, right? Because Amazon only promotes the first 100 books in each category on their bestseller lists. So if your book is ranking 120, it's not ranking in that category when readers actually browse that category page on Amazon. And I'll show you exactly what this looks like on Amazon's website in a moment. So it's really, really important when you pick your child categories, pick 2 child categories where you can rank in the top 100. And so if you're a brand new author, you've got no traction, no sales yet, you're going to pick some really non-competitive categories because you can rank well for them and you'll get at least some exposure, right? And as you sell more and more books, you're basically stair-stepping and you're like climbing the ladder to success. You're changing your book to more and more competitive, relevant categories where you can get more sales and more exposure for your work, right? Now, here's the thing. There's over 28,700 bestseller categories on Amazon, right? That's for ebooks, that's for print books, audiobooks, so just to give you some numbers that I know people love this, and you really should understand this because it's an important part of your marketing strategy. So if you're selling an ebook on Amazon in the English language, 80 to 85% of your sales on average will come from the US market, from Amazon.com. And about 5 to 10% of your sales for English ebooks will come from Amazon.co.uk, right, in the United Kingdom. And then the other like 5 to 10% of your sales will come from all the other countries combined, so like Amazon Brazil and France and Germany and Australia and Canada and so forth, right? And so what does this mean? Well, it means that, look, if you're publishing English ebooks on Amazon, you should be focusing at least 90% of your marketing effort, time, money, understanding who your US customer is, right? Doing your market research based on US customers and marketing to US customers, because that's where most of the money is, right? So if you want to maximize your income, you need to focus on where your customers are, where the money is. And the money for English ebooks on Kindle is almost, 80%, 85% in the US. So that's really where you want to focus most of your time and effort. And as we're walking through this market research process, even if you're in the UK, like I've got a lot of publishing clients who are in the UK and they've got big audiences in the UK, and they still get like 80% of their sales for their books in the US, right? So even though they live in the UK, they do speaking events in the UK, still most of their sales, most of their income for their books comes from the US. So it's really important you understand that and you focus on like the 80-20 rule. Focus 80% of your time, effort, and energy on the 20% that's going to get the biggest results, and that's focusing on marketing your books in the US. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, I want to walk you through my 5-step process to becoming a #1 bestseller on Amazon. So here's the 5 steps, and then we're going to dive deep into the details. I'm going to show you a demo of how to actually go through each of these steps. So first, you're going to find relevant bestseller categories. That just makes sense. Second, you're going to analyze the competition. You're going to find out who your competitors are, who your customers are, and how you can position your book to be most successful in your market. Now, step 3 is you're going to calculate exactly how many sales you need to hit #1 in each category that you're aiming for on Amazon, and I'll show you some free tools to do that for you. And then step 4, you're going to choose your 2 target categories, your 2 child categories that you're going to rank in the top 100 for when you launch your book. And then step 5, you're going to get Amazon to put your book in those categories. Okay, so step 1 is we're going to find the relevant bestseller categories on Amazon. So go ahead and save this link on the screen right here. Don't go there now. I'll walk you through this link in a moment. Basically, this link is just a quick, easy link that takes you directly to Amazon's Kindle Store bestseller rankings page. So you don't have to fumble around on the website for 10 minutes trying to figure out where it is. If you just save that link, it will take you right there. So you can go through this 5-step process after the webinar for your own books, and you'll be able to follow this process along on that page. Okay, so the link is tckpublishing.com/Amazon categories, and that takes you directly to the Amazon's Kindle Store bestseller rankings page where you can start doing your market research. Now, step 2 is we're going to analyze the competition, right? You need to understand the market. You need to understand who your customers are. You need to understand who your competitors are. And a really important question that I learned the hard way to ask is, look, is this a long-term market or a short-term market? And I'm sure Steve can agree with me on this, that short-term markets are no fun, right? I wrote a book on Facebook marketing and Twitter marketing, and like those are classic short-term markets because Facebook and Twitter are making updates constantly. So I have to go back and constantly update my books to make sure they're relevant to readers. And the books are like 3 or 4 years old at this point, so most folks don't want to buy a 4-year-old book on Facebook marketing, right? It's a very short-term market when you're writing about technology and current trends and stuff like that because things change so fast. Whereas if you're publishing books, on weight loss or self-help, personal development, novels, any kind of novel fiction, those are long-term markets, right? People still buy books like, out of copyright books, like things like Think and Grow Rich, old novels, Gone with the Wind, right? All these old books, old stories, people are still buying and still reading because those are long-term markets. And the great thing about being an author today, and in the US at least, is you own the copyright to your work for 75 plus years after you're dead, right? So you can pass your books on, you can pass that business on to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren And they can still be earning income, still be earning royalties from your books, as long as there's distributors like Amazon to do the work for you, right? So you can leave a legacy with your work because of the way copyright law works, because you're basically guaranteed income for the next 75 years. That's an if, though. If, and it's a big if you have a good book that people want to read that's in a long-term market. And so my focus in this business is all about long-term success. I don't just want to make a lot of money in the next 30 days and have all my sales fizzle out. I want long-term success. I want books that, like Unlimited Memory, that stay on the bestseller list on Amazon month after month after month, year after year after year. That's how you create long-term success. And so it's crucial, if you want to do that, that first of all, you start off in a long-term market. Because if you have a long-term business strategy in a short-term market, it's going to be tough, right? It's going to be really tough to get the results you're looking for. The other things you want to look at is things like, what are the reader demographics? Who are your readers? Are they mostly male, mostly female? What age are they? What's their college education? What's their income level? What are their interests? Where do they live? Asking yourself all these different questions to find out, who is your ideal reader and how can you reach them? Who is your target reader and how can you reach them? Because once you figure out who your ideal reader is, then you can figure out where to spend your money and your time marketing to those exact people. So you're not wasting marketing dollars and marketing time. And that's what most authors do. Most authors just throw marketing budget at a book, and they have no idea who their readers are. They have no idea where to find their readers. And so they're shocked when they spend $500 or $5,000 or $50,000 marketing a book and they don't get very good results, right? And the reason is simply because they didn't understand who their ideal reader is and how to connect with those ideal readers. And so that's why this step is so important. This is a step that most folks just completely gloss over this step, right? They completely skip the step when they're publishing their books, and that's why most folks fail. Now, step 3 is you're going to calculate the sales you need to hit number 1 in your category on Amazon. So I've got a free tool, the free Amazon book sales calculator. You can jot down this link and save it for later. It's tckpublishing.com/calculator. And so when you go to that link, there's like a little calculator, and you can type in the Amazon Kindle sales ranking or the book sales ranking for print books and just hit calculate, and it will tell you exactly how many sales you need in a 30-day period or in a 24-hour period to hit that sales ranking on Amazon. Now, step 4 is you're going to choose your 2 target categories. So once we know exactly, how many sales each of the categories you've been researching, how many sales you need to hit those categories, you can analyze, right? So if you've got 10 categories are relevant for your book, and you know that one category you need 1,000 sales, another category you need 100 sales, another category you need 10 sales to rank number 1 for, well, you can start off in the category you only need 10 sales to rank number 1 for, and as you get more and more book sales, you can go up to more and more competitive categories and get more and more exposure for your work. So just remember, you have to aim for the top 100 spots in your category to get Amazon to promote your book in those categories. And ideally, the ideal strategy you want to go for is to aim to rank number 1 in one category and top 20 in another category. So because the top 20 books, and I'll show you in a moment on Amazon, the top 20 books are the ones that are featured on Amazon, right? So it's like Google results. If you've ever done like search engine optimization or just done a Google search, you know that the first page of Google results are the results that are most likely to get clicked on, right? So very few folks are going to click over to the second page or the third page or the fifth page to click on a book, right? Or to start to click on a link in Google. And it's the same way on Amazon. So if you can rank in the top 20, you're on that first page results on Amazon, you're going to get more clicks and more sales because you're on the first page results. Now, step 5 is going to get Amazon to list your book in your target categories. And this sounds like such a simple thing. It's actually a little bit more complex than you might imagine, simply because of some problems we'll talk about in the next slide. But here's the solution, right? So just given the problems, here's the solution. Here's what you want to do. So every time you do this 5-step process, you find the ideal categories you want your books to rank for on Amazon. What you want to do is simply go to kdp.amazon.com/contact us. Just log into your Kindle Direct Publishing dashboard. You can do the same thing with CreateSpace if you're publishing books with CreateSpace. Either one, KDP or CreateSpace, send their support team a simple email that says this: Dear Amazon, please change the category of my book to, and then just copy and paste the category ranking exactly as it appears on Amazon's website on your book page, or in the software tool that I created called Bestseller Ranking Pro that does this whole system process for you, right? So you just copy that exact category as it appears on Amazon, send that to them, and they'll change that category for you within about 24 hours. So it's the simplest, fastest, easiest way to do it. So I highly recommend you write this down, save that link, and do this because it's going to save you a ton of time, especially if you're publishing multiple books. For folks like me who publish hundreds and hundreds of books, if I didn't do it this way, if I had to go through it, manually, like I'd have like a full-time person just trying to figure this stuff out, because that's just how bad Amazon system is organized, right? And so here's the problems and challenges with actually understanding the categories on Amazon. So Amazon displays BISAC categories on their website, and BISAC is basically just the industry standard categorization system, catalog system that Amazon and all major retailers and bookstores and libraries use to kind of just organize the books in different topics, right? So it separates romance books from business books, from self-help books, and so on. The problem is that inside your KDP account, like if you've published your book before on Kindle, in your KDP account, the categories you can select in your KDP account are not the same. They are Amazon's own in-house categories, and they are not the same thing at all. In fact, less than 50% of all the Kindle categories that are available inside your KDP account are less than 50% of all the categories on Kindle on Amazon's website that appear for customers, less than half of them actually appear in your account. Right, so you can only select like less than half of the categories that actually exist if you're selecting your categories manually in KDP, and that's because the databases just don't match up 100%. And Amazon's been really slow to change this and to fix this. The other problem is that Amazon is constantly changing the names, the locations, and the hierarchies of many of their bestseller lists very frequently, right? And on top of that, Amazon's adding new bestseller lists every month. So some months they only add, a small handful of categories. Some months they add hundreds of new categories, right? So they're constantly adding new categories as well. So you need to kind of stay up to date on this stuff. And so what this means for you, right? So your minimum research time should be at a bare minimum, if you really want to publish a book and have success with this and get #1 bestseller and stay there, you have to research the bestseller list every 3 months on Amazon's website, right? That's the bare minimum. This is just a hobby for you. Every 3 months, you need to be researching the bestseller list to make sure your books are ranking in the right bestseller list on Amazon's site. Now, if you're a professional savvy publisher and you want to earn a full-time income or more publishing books on Amazon, you should be researching the bestseller list and analyzing the competition constantly, right? I know that's what Steve does. That's what all the top publishers do who are really successful. They're constantly browsing the bestseller list on Amazon, looking at other covers, looking at other book titles, understanding who their audience is, what the competition is doing, and where the market is going. And when you do that, you're going to get key insights and key lessons you're going to learn just from studying the bestseller list on Amazon. So you're going to see where the opportunities are and where the real money can be made by watching what other people are doing. Right. So now that we've kind of covered the process system, I want to actually walk you through this process live demo on Amazon's website so you can see exactly how to implement every step I've talked about so far. So please go ahead and post your comment in the chat box right now, telling us exactly what your book is about, including your market or genre, and be as specific as possible. Please tell me your niche and your subgenre, like as specific as possible. So don't just say romance novel, vampire, historical, time travel. Romance is much more specific and will allow me to do better research and provide you better examples on Amazon right now based on your books. So real quick, I'm just going to browse through your comments in the chat box and see which books you guys are talking about, which markets and niches you're talking about. I'm going to select 2 of your comments in the chat box to actually walk you through this market research process. So I'm just going to kind of click that link, tskpublishing.com/Amazon categories. I've already done that before. So here we are on Amazon. And this link takes you to the Amazon Kindle Amazon bestsellers page. So you see here the Kindle ebooks section. So we're looking at Kindle ebooks on Amazon right now, and it has the top 100 paid books, the top 100 free books, hot new releases, bestsellers 2016. And these here are all the different parent categories on Amazon. Remember, we talked about parent categories before. You want to choose 2 child categories and 2 different parent categories if possible, so you can get more exposure. So these are all the Kindle ebooks parent categories, okay? So let's check out the comments and see what categories we're going to choose here. So Gail Katz has a book on self-help mate seeking. So she wants to do market research for that book. So great. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find some relevant categories on Amazon for a book about seeking a mate, right? So I don't know if that's an actual category she's talking about or not. So let's find out. So let's go to self-help and we'll click that. And when we click self-help, you'll see this is the parent category, and it has all these different subcategories underneath it. And so I don't see anything self-help mate seeking, so I'm not sure this is the right place to go. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat box. I don't think that's the right way to go. So, if it's the book on finding a partner, on dating and so forth, it's probably a parenting relationships category. So we can go ahead and check out the parent and relationships category and see if we can find anything in there. We've got adoption, aging parents, family activities, family health, fertility, parenting, special needs. Oh, that doesn't look like it's it either. Let's see. Where is a book on dating? Honestly, this is the first time it's ever happened, but I'm kind of stumped right now. I know there's some dating stuff in here. Maybe you can let me know in the comments if anybody knows where we would find books on relationships. Right, health, fitness, and dieting. Right, okay. So thank you for that. Appreciate that, Gail. Health, fitness, and dieting. Relationships. Right. So why is relationships and a dating book under health, fitness, and dieting? It makes no sense to me, right? But that's just how Amazon does stuff. Right, and so you'll notice that as you're going through this process for yourself, it's going to take you some time to figure it out, right? I've been doing this hundreds of times. I've done this presentation many, many times, and it's still tough to find these categories. So have some patience with yourself as you're going through this process, because it does take time to figure it out, because it's not just common sense. Great. So mate seeking. Oh, there's a whole category called mate seeking. Awesome. So we got the mate seeking category here on Amazon. Great. So we've now found a relevant category for Gail's book called mate seeking. And so now that we're here, we're going to start analyzing the competition. Okay. So we're going to start analyzing the competition, analyzing the market. So the first thing I want to do is just scroll down this page for the top 100 books in this category, and you'll see that the number 1 into the 20 books, this is the first page results, right? And then that's the second page, third page, fourth page, fifth page. So if you're ranking on the first page, it's obvious you're going to get more clicks and more sales just because it's on the first page results. Like, most readers are going to browse this first page, click a book they see here they like, and then buy those books, right? So as you can see, the higher up you rank, the more and more exposures and clicks you're going to get. It's just kind of a no-brainer. So one of the things you want to do, one of the first things I do when I'm looking at any market, is actually just kind of take a look here on the bestseller list to look at all the book covers. I want to analyze their book covers. I want to look at what their book covers look like. What are the branding of these books look like? And so take a look at their covers and analyze stuff like, look at the fonts. What kind of fonts are they using? What kind of colors are they using? What kind of images and designs are they using? Right? What kind of emotion are these book covers eliciting in you, right? And so when I look on this page, I see just all over the place. I mean, there's, none of these covers really look all that similar. They're just all over the place. This one is very pink. It seems to be a little bit feminine. This one, seems to be kind of masculine. Talking to Crazy, seems like a kind of a unique book on relationships, right? Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. That's a very famous book on relationships. But if you look at the branding, just the colors, the images, take a look. What does this cover make you feel? Right? That's one of the biggest things you need to understand about book covers and book buyers is that when people buy books, it's an emotional decision. Right? When they click on this image, that's an emotional decision they're making. And so when you look at the cover, you want to ask yourself when you get a cover back from your cover designer, what is the immediate emotion? What is my immediate emotional response to this cover? Right? Because that's the emotional response most likely your reader is going to have. And so, for a book in this market, depending on the angle of your book, because obviously there's different books here with different kinds of messages, depending on the message of your book. So if the message of your book is, I want to help people find their dream partner, right? That's a certain kind of emotion. That's a positive emotion that is absolutely not elicited in a book cover like Talking to Crazy, right? That's not the emotion this cover elicits in you, right? And so that's one of the things you want to think about when you're designing your book covers. So what I recommend is you go through all the best-selling books in your market, take a look at all their book covers, and jot down a swipe file. I call it a swipe file. So copy and paste the links to all the different covers you like and jot down notes of what you like about this cover. So if you really like this font here, write that down, keep a link to this book in your file. Say, I really like the font they use on this cover. I really like, the color they use in this one. I like the emotional feel of, this cover, which I don't, that's a really weird cover. Right. So you want to jot down those things and then send that to your cover designer. And that's how you can give your cover designer really clear instructions to design a book that's branded for your market because you've done your research on it. Okay. There's a lot more to market research and analysis. So other things you want to do is take a look at all the titles, all of the book titles and subtitles in your market. Okay, so look at the subtitles and titles and study them. What key words, what key phrases are they using? What titles really stand out to you? Do you think are really memorable? Just great titles, and which ones are really bad? Right, and learn from other authors in your market. See what they're doing well and what they're not doing well, and model what they're doing well, and fix the things that they're not doing well to have your book stand apart from the competition. Other thing you want to do is read all of these reviews, or sorry, read all of the book descriptions, right? So read all the book descriptions for all the top books in your market and find out how they're actually pitching the book, right? Because the book description on Amazon is like the only place you have to actually tell the reader why they should buy your book. And so most authors, most publishers, they don't really take good advantage of this, and they have pretty poor book descriptions. But you'll find that the best-selling books in most major markets have really good book descriptions, and they really put a lot of time and effort and energy into writing a great book description that tells the reader why they should buy that book. Right? It's just like if you're buying a light bulb on Amazon, you want to know, how big is it? How many lumens does it have? You want to know all the technical specs so you can make a good decision, an informed decision on whether or not that's the right book for you to buy. Right? And if you don't educate your reader through the book description, they're not going to buy your book, right? They're going to go away. They're going to go very confused because they don't know if it's the right book for them. Now, other things you want to do is look inside. So click the book page, look inside the book, and read the first 1 to 2 pages of all the best-selling books in your market. If you do that, you will learn really quickly who the great writers are in your market and how they're drawing readers into the story. Because a lot of your readers are just going to browse, they're going to look inside, they're going to start reading your book. And if they're captivated in the first 1 or 2 pages, they're going to click buy. Right? They're going to click buy here with 1 click. And if they are not captivated, if they're not interested in your book, they're just going to close it out and they're never going to buy your book. Right? So make sure that your first 1 or 2 pages of your book are great. And the way you will know that is by comparing it to the first 1 or 2 pages of all the best-selling books in your market to see where your book stacks up with the competition. Now, scrolling down the page here, we'll get to the product details section, right? We talked about this before. Product details, that's where you find the Amazon bestsellers rank. So this book is ranked number 309 paid in the Kindle store. It's number 1 in these Kindle categories, and here, number 1 in this books category. There's the Amazon author rank, and you scroll in here, you'll see the customer reviews. So the last thing I'm talking about in market research for this is so crucial. Very few authors do this, but if you do this, it will set you apart from everyone else in your market. What you want to do is read all the reviews, every single review of all the 100 best-selling books in your market. What this will do, and have a notebook with you as you do it, you're going to jot down notes of all the common things your readers say they love about books in your market and all the common things readers hate about those books in your market. And if you do that, you will very quickly see where the opportunities are in your market, right? When readers tell you what they love about the best-selling books in your market, you better have some of those elements in your book or they're not going to love your book, right? It just makes sense. And when your readers in their market tell you what they hate about the best-selling books in your market, if you can fix those deficiencies in your book, if you can have a book that delivers on those values and needs and wants of your reader that no one else or very few other people in your market are doing, that will set your book apart from everyone else. You'll end up with a much higher star review average, and you'll get more reviews, more sales, right, and better results because you've branded your book to your market. You've delivered on what your readers want, right? That's really what market research is about. It's about understanding who your audience is and how you can give them what they want. And so reading the reviews is a very, very powerful way to do that. Okay, now the next step is we're going to calculate exactly how many sales we need to hit number 1 in this category, right? So now we've done the market research. We know this is a good category for Gail's book. We've looked at the titles, the subtitles, the cover designs, the reviews. We've looked inside the books. We've read the book descriptions, right? We get a feeling for who our customer is now, and we want to find out, okay, how many sales do we actually need to actually hit number 1 in this category? So we're going to simply copy this Amazon bestsellers rank. We're going to go to the sales calculator tool, that link I shared with you before, and just hit calculate. Make sure you select ebook for ebooks and books for physical books. And it tells you, if you want to hit that ranking, you want to be number 1 in this mate seeking category right now on Amazon, Gail, you either have to sell 6,847 books per month or 456 sales in 24 hours, in one 24-hour period. Now, it's an or, not an and, it's an or. Right, so Amazon's algorithm is weighted towards momentum. So the more sales you have in a shorter period of time, the higher and the faster your ranking is going to jump up. So you can either sell 6,800 sales over a month to maintain that ranking, or 456 sales in 1 day to hit that ranking, like when you launch a brand new book. Okay, so that's how you find out how many sales you need to hit the bestseller list on Amazon. And then after that, then what we're going to do next is we know how many sales we need. and excuse me. So then we're going to choose the actual other child categories, right? So another thing that you can do here is go and take a look at this book, right? So this book is #1 in the mate seeking category. It's also #1 in these other categories. So you can browse these other categories to see if there are other more relevant categories for your book. Okay, so you can take a look at interpersonal relations category and see if that might be another good category for your book. And you can do the same things to all these other categories as well. Okay, now once we've selected the categories and we know, okay, this is a category we want to rank for, then you're going to just copy and paste this category right here. Actually, the category doesn't appear on this book page for some reason. So this is the category you want, the mate seeking category. And so you have to copy this category on Amazon. So instead of like writing out by hand, I just try to find a book that's on that category where we can scroll down to product details. Right here, so mate seeking category. So you can just copy this category right here, copy that, go to Amazon's contact form for KDP or CreateSpace, say, hey, Amazon, I want you to change my book to this category, and they'll change your book in about 24 hours really quickly to that category. So that's how you actually get Amazon to rank your book in the category. Okay, so let's go back to the chat box and let's go ahead and research another market, another niche. OMG, awesome. I hope you like that, Gail. So let's see another market. And do any of you guys write fiction? Normally I do one nonfiction book and one fiction book just to make sure that everyone gets to see kind of how this process works. So I'm going to go through the chat and see if anyone's got some fiction stuff, but I honestly don't see a bunch. It seems like most of your audience, oh no, so okay, there we go. We got a steamy romance, historical novellas, epic fantasy. All right, so let's go with epic fantasy, new adult, and college fantasy in Martin's market. Okay, so we're going to go back here to the Kindle eBooks ranking page. And we're researching an epic fantasy novel, possibly new adult, possibly college fantasy. Okay, so let's see. So let's see if we can scroll down to the parent categories here and find the fantasy category. Now, there's no fantasy parent category here, but there's a literature and fiction category, so that one might be relevant. And we'll see if there are any other relevant categories here. I think that's probably it. Oh, science fiction, fantasy. There we go. So one of the things you want to know is, like, for example, for romance, if you click on romance and browse those categories, I'll do it real quick, you'll see a bunch of romance categories, right? But not every romance category is listed under romance, right? This is another kind of quirk with how Amazon does their listings, right? So when you're looking in sci-fi and fantasy, when you're looking in literature and fiction, you'll find different romance categories under these different parent categories. And it's just kind of a quirk of Amazon's system. So even if you're writing science fiction and fantasy, don't only look in that category, look in all the other categories that might possibly contain one or two science fiction categories too, because there's often a lot of other categories there that could be really valuable for your book and for your market. Okay, so now let's go to the science fiction and fantasy section. So we got two choices, fantasy or science fiction. So we're gonna go with fantasy. And then here's more subcategories to choose from, and we've got epic. So let's see. Oh, we got epic. We've got new adult and college. Let's just go with epic for now. See what that happens. So what happens there? Okay. So now once we click epic, you'll notice there's no more subcategories to choose from. And so now we know we've selected a child category. The epic fantasy category is a child category because there's no other subcategories underneath it, right? Now, as soon as I look at this category, I know, like, okay, we're in a little bit of trouble here, Martin, just because, the #1 book in this market is, Tolkien, right? Fellowship of the Ring. So I'm guessing they're probably selling a ton of books, and it's going to be a really tough category to compete with. So yeah, he's number 26 paid in the Kindle store. And so real quick, we can calculate how many sales we need to do that. So if you want to be number 26 paid in the Kindle store, you need 33,000 sales per month or 2,250 sales in a day. So I'm just going to assume, because most folks can't quite do that, this is probably not a category you're going to aim to get #1 in anytime soon. And that's okay, right? You don't need to be #1 in the most competitive category on Amazon or one of the most competitive categories on Amazon to earn a really great income as an author, right? So let's go ahead and research a different category that's a little bit less competitive for you that might be a better fit for your book to start out, right? And so you talked about new adult and college fantasy. Let's see if we can go new adult and college there. And again, this is a child category, so there's no subcategories underneath it. So let's check out these books and see how well they're selling. $160 paid in the Kindle store, so it's less competitive. So let's go ahead and go with this for now to say it, just because we're kind of don't have a ton of time left here. So again, once we found a relevant category here, new adult and college fantasy, we want to browse all the book covers. And this is actually, well, I mean, it's just as important for fiction and nonfiction, but you'll notice right away, like when looking at these book covers in fiction, like on this page, the top 20 book covers on this page, they all look pretty darn good. Some of them look amazing to me. Like some of these book covers I really, really like this one, that one's really nice. That's a good cover. Like these are like some really nice book covers. You can tell this wasn't like some kid working with like Microsoft Paint designing these covers, right? These are really quality book covers, and it makes sense because this is a more competitive category, right? So the more and more competitive the category is, the more and more quality you need to separate yourself from the competition, right? So notice that right away, and notice how the book covers are branded and themed. Like all these book covers, not only are they very well designed for the most part, they all kind of have very similar feeling. Like look at the emotion of it. It's kind of this eerie fantasy, like there's some magic going on here. There's like moonlight. There's these colors that you would never really see in the natural world, right? You can very much get the feel like there's something like magic going on here. There's some kind of emotion that, and I don't even know how to describe that emotion I'm feeling. But when you just look at these book covers, like there's like some emotion in there that's very, very different from looking at, the mate-seeking books we looked at before, right? And it's very, very different from romance novels, right? So notice that immediately, and that's the emotion, a similar kind of emotion you want to elicit with your book if this is the market you're going for, right? So it's a crucial part of branding your books is getting that emotion right, getting the branding, getting the images, getting the colors right, so that it attracts your ideal reader, right? So this is one of the things you want to do is study the book covers in your market, and that'll help you design much better book covers. And you go through the same process we talked about for nonfiction, for fiction as well. It's the same thing. Find the best color covers you really like, model the elements of them you like, whether it's the fonts, the text, the feelings, emotions, colors, etc., and send that to your designer and have them come up with something that's really branded for your market. Now, other things you want to do, again, study the titles and subtitles. Now, this book doesn't have a subtitle, and this is one of the things that I think I'm one of the first folks to ever do this, is actually add subtitles to all of our fiction books on Amazon, because I think it makes a ton of sense, right? So if you're browsing on Amazon and you see a book called Magic Born, if you're browsing that bestseller category, it's okay. But if you just like type a search and Amazon or someone recommends a book and you just see it's called Magic Born, you don't really know what kind of book it is. Now, looking by this book cover, you can kind of tell it's probably a novel. It even says fantasy on the book cover, which is great. But I like to just have it really simple. In the subtitle, it says, a new adult urban fantasy. That would be my subtitle for this book, because in the search box, like in Amazon, well, here's the bestsellers, but if you go through the search box on Amazon, you'll see like the listings are really tiny, and all you see here is like a little bit of the title and stuff. And so by having that book title or the subtitle for the book, it tells new readers immediately if this book is going to apply to them or not. So if someone's looking at a search result in Amazon and they see this book is called Magic Born, a new adult urban fantasy, and they want to read a new adult urban fantasy, they're more likely to click that book. And it also helps your book rank better for those keywords as well, which can also help get you a lot more sales. Okay. Other things you want to do, again, check out all the book descriptions, read all the book descriptions for all the best books in your market. And this is like super crucial for fiction because your book is just a story, right? So when someone buys a novel, they have no idea what that experience is going to be like reading that novel, right? You just don't know, right? So how do you judge a novel? Well, you look at the title, you look at the book cover, and you read the book description, right? And so if the book description doesn't give you the emotions and the fun, doesn't draw you into the story, it doesn't get you excited about reading the book, you're just going to click away. You're not going to buy. So make sure you study the best-selling descriptions in your market to create a great book, right? And again, look inside the book, read the first 1 to 2 pages. Crucial you do this for fiction, because if people read the first 1 to 2 pages and they're bored with a novel, why would they read 300 pages? It makes no sense, right? So if your book is not exciting from page 1, it's not drawing the reader in from page 1, based on your market, right? So romance might not be as exciting as, mystery, thriller, horror, etc., right? You want to have the emotions drawn, and you want the reader to be drawn into the story from page 1. And if you're not doing that, study the best writers in your market to see how they're doing that and model the way they're doing it. Model those scenes to make your books really stand out and really draw the reader in right away. Other things you want to do, again, the reviews. Same thing before, right? Same thing with nonfiction. Read all the best-selling reviews and all the reviews of the best-selling books in your market. Jot down the positive qualities, negative qualities. See how you can get your book to stand out. Now, with fiction, you're going to want to take special note of like the scenes. So if there's certain scenes that your readers talk about in the reviews over and over again on certain books they like, buy that book, read those scenes, find out why they love those scenes, find out why those scenes are drawing them in, or find out what scenes they hate, right? There's like 20 readers that say, hey, this and such happened in the book and it was terrible, and I put the book down right away. Go ahead and read that section of the book and figure out why are readers putting this book down, right? Why are the readers putting this book down at this scene? Why is this scene not a good fit for this market, right? And that will help you become a better writer, and that's what's going to help you sell more books in the long run. Okay. Step 3, again, we're going to go and find out how many sales we need in this market. We've done that already. You can find out other books, other categories that might be relevant as well. So you can check out the women's adventure category, new adult and college category, et cetera, et cetera. And then step 5, again, you're just going to copy and paste the category you want your book to be in. So that's a book category, it's a Kindle category. Some of these categories are kind of messed up today. So as you can tell, it takes a little bit of time. I've made quite a few mistakes today. And this presentation is not as streamlined as it usually is, and that's just because Amazon's complex. There's 28,000 categories, and there's a lot to this. So give yourself some patience as you're going through this process because it does take a bit of time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go back to the presentation, and I'm actually going to show you a much faster way to go through this entire process. So you can do this whole thing way faster and save you a ton of time. So real quick, I want to just do a learning checkup. Has this been helpful so far? Please go ahead and write in the chat box the favorite thing you've learned so far, and let us know if you're going to start applying this 5-step process when you publish your next book or for your existing book as well. It's also the perfect process you want to go through for an existing book, especially if your book isn't selling well, to figure out, like you can diagnose your book and figure out immediately why your book is not selling well by going through this process. All right, very helpful. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys for your great comments. I really appreciate that. So a question I get a ton of is like, will this work for me, right? And the answer is yes, right? If you follow the process works. It's like when you become great at the fundamentals in basketball, you will be successful. When you become great at the fundamentals in writing and publishing books, you will be successful. So I want you to meet Mark. Mark Messick is the international best-selling author of 11 books and counting now. He's, I think he's actually 17 years old now. He just turned 17, I think. He published his first book at age 14. And last time I talked to Mark, he was earning several $1,000s in passive income every single month from his books on Amazon, right? So, I mean, he's like a kid, hasn't even graduated from high school yet, and earning more than most folks earn in a full-time job, just writing and publishing books on Amazon. And this is like the thing that shocks me the most. So he sent me this screenshot a couple months ago. This is Mark outselling Donald Trump on Amazon. And this screenshot was taken when Donald Trump was just one of the 4 front runners in the Republican Party. So he wasn't he didn't actually win the election back then. But I mean, even then he was getting more media mentions than anyone else in the world. He's a billionaire. He's had like tons and tons of traditional book publishing deals, right? He's got a huge marketing machine behind his brand and what he does. And this 16-year-old kid sitting in his parents' room, on a little computer, is outselling him on Amazon, right? And why? How is that even possible? It's because when you follow this process, when you understand exactly who your customers are, you write books that have the qualities and elements and things that no one else in your market is providing for your audience, and you understand some basic smart marketing strategies, you will be successful. There is no competition for folks who go through the work that I just told you about because so few people are actually doing this. Right now, there's a much easier way you can go through this process. It's called Bestseller Ranking Pro. It's going to save you a ton of time. I built this tool to save myself a ton of time at the company. And I want to show you real quick how it works. So let's fire it up and I'll show you how it works. So when you log into Bestseller Ranking Pro, this is what it looks like in the members area. So as soon as you log in, you'll see it's currently tracking 28,700 bestseller categories on Amazon, 10,489 for US ebook, 10,000-ish for US physical books, audiobooks, UK ebooks, UK print books. And so if we go over here to US ebooks, click the rankings, and we scroll down and we'll go to the relationship. Oh, actually, with health and fitness, right? So the health, fitness, and dieting category for Gail's book, because she was looking at the mate seeking category, right? And so if you scroll down on this category page, you'll see in health, fitness, and dieting, there are 271 bestseller categories in the health, fitness, and dieting parent category. Now, how this is organized, first thing you'll see here is the exact hierarchy of the bestseller list on Amazon. So health, fitness, and dieting, addiction, and recovery, right? So if you just copy and paste this on Amazon, or sorry, if you copy and paste this and send this to Amazon and KDP support or CreateSpace support and say, hey, I want to be ahead of this category, they'll add you right away. So it takes all the struggle and fuss of trying to find those links and try and find those category hierarchies for you. It just does it for you right away. Next thing you'll see is the link to the page on Amazon. So when you want to go through this 5-step process, you want to analyze the competition, you want to take a look at the book covers, all you do is click that link and you're right there. You don't have to struggle through all these different crazy things to find out where this category is on Amazon and how to analyze the competition. Next thing you'll see is the ranking for the #1 book on Amazon. So the #1 book in this addiction recovery category right now is ranked at 1,040 paid Kindle sales ranking in the Kindle store. And if you scroll over that number, it will tell you exactly how many sales you need to hit that ranking. So 2,700 sales per month, or about 179 sales in 24 hours if you want to be #1 in that category right now. Now, if you're new, you can't do 180 sales in your book launch. Maybe you can hit number 20. Maybe you can hit the front page results in this category. To do that, you only need 230 sales per month or 15 sales in 24 hours. So you can see how this just takes all the guesswork out of it. You can know immediately which categories you can rank for, which categories you can't, just by looking at these rankings here and these listings in the Bestseller Ranking Pro. And if you want to be top 100 in this category because you're brand new, you have no audience, you have no email list, no one knows who you are, you're publishing your first book, you've never done anything online before, well, can you sell 5 books in 24 hours? By telling a few friends and family member and folks on Facebook about your book? Probably, right? And you can rank top 100 in the addiction and recovery category. Now, if that category is not a good fit for you, there are 271 other categories in here. And so you can actually organize by competitiveness. So if you're browsing the health, fitness, and dieting category and you want to look at the most competitive categories, so these ones are all brand new, right? So these are brand new categories. That's why they don't have any books in this ranking. But this is organized by competitiveness. So you scroll down here. Actually, it looks like these might not be new categories. I think it might just be, yeah, it's just an error in the last update. So that'll get fixed as soon as we update it in the next day or two. Sorry about that. So here's the most competitive categories here. So to be in #1 in relationships and health, fitness, and dieting is one of the most competitive categories here. You need 1,451 sales in 24 hours or 21,000 sales per month. And you can also organize by least competitive. So in this category, if you want to be #1, 1 sale in 24 hours, right? So if we click on this page, there's only 3 books in this category. And if you want to be #1 in this category, you get 1 sale for your book, and your book is in the judo category on Amazon. You will be a #1 bestseller on Amazon with 1 book sale. Now, is that how you're going to get rich? Nope, not how you're going to get rich, but hey, it's a great place to start, right? If that's what your book is about. If you're a martial arts book, you can be #1 in that category. And then as you sell more and more books, you can go to more and more competitive categories, right? So as you scroll up and up, you'll see the categories get more and more and more competitive. And so that's just a cool thing that Bestseller Ranking Pro can do for you. The other thing is it's got this awesome search feature, right? So I have no idea why Amazon put a mate-seeking category in health, fitness, and dieting, like a dating category. But if you type in mate, or if you type in relationships, which is like a subcategory underneath here, you'll see these are all of the health, fitness, and dieting categories that have to do with relationships. And again, I have no idea why these relationships categories are under health, fitness, and dieting, but that's how it is, right? And so, Gail, you can analyze these categories here. You can organize by competitiveness. You can click the link to the page on Amazon to do your research. You can see which ones are easiest for you to rank for. So it looks like the mate-seeking category is actually the least competitive category of these 5 relationship categories. But there are more relationship categories, right? So if you go to the other nonfiction categories, the self-help categories, etc., you will find more relationship categories, and you can research those ones as well. And Bestseller Ranking Pro makes it so much easier and faster to do that. Now, we'll also go take a look at the fantasy categories. So science fiction and fantasy down here. Okay, so the science fiction and fantasy category, when you scroll down, there's 47 sci-fi and fantasy categories. And again, it's got the category listing here. You can copy and paste to Amazon, tell them to change to your book. It's got the links. It's got all the rankings, so you can tell how many sales you need, and you can organize by competitiveness. So the most competitive category is just a generic science fiction category. The least competitive category is TV, movie, video game adaptation, Stargate. And if you click this link, looks like it's another pretty new category. Yeah, it's still pretty new. It's only got 70 books in this category, so it's still a new category. There's not even 100 books in it yet. But it's very non-competitive. So if you got a new sci-fi book, it might not be the most relevant category if you're not writing about Stargate, but it's a way that even with 80 sales a month, which is very little. Actually, no, that's to get number one. 80 sales a month if you want to get number one. If you can sell one book, you'll be in the top 100 of this category in sci-fi. And again, it might not be the most relevant category for you, but if you're a brand new sci-fi author, I see no reason not to list your book here. And then as you sell more books, find more competitive and more relevant categories to get your book in to get more and more exposure on Amazon. So that's just a real quick demo of how Bestseller Ranking Pro works. It's amazing. It saved me a ton of time and money. And I love it. I love it, and I want to share that with you guys. So quick, I want to do a learning recap. So here's the 5-step process. Again, make sure you have this nailed in. Number one, you're going to find the most relevant bestseller categories on Amazon. You're going to analyze the competition, understand who your customers are, who your competitors are. All the steps we talked about before are super important. I hope you took notes on that. Step 3, you're going to calculate the exact sales you need to hit number 1 in your category, or number 20, or number 100, based on what categories you're aiming for. Step 4, you're going to choose the 2 child categories, right? So choose the 2 child categories and 2 different parent categories if possible that you're aiming to rank in the number 1 spot or top 20 spots or top 100 spots for. And then you're going to get Amazon to list your book in those new categories, okay? So my question real quick is, did I deliver on my promise to you today to show you how to get your book to number 1 on Amazon? Please go ahead and let me know in the questions box. Wow, you guys have left so many comments here. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I just love teaching this stuff because it's made a huge world of difference in my business and in my life, honestly, because without Amazon, I don't know where I'd be. Like it's just completely changed my life to allow me to be an author and be creative and do all these awesome things. This tool has saved me a ton of time so that I can do it all and actually enjoy the process, right? So I want to show you how you can learn more and how you can use Bestseller Ranking Pro today, right now in your business to save you a ton of time and help you sell more books. So I created Bestseller Ranking Pro to help me just grow my publishing business, right? Because every single week we were publishing books every single week, and I was spending like 5, 10, sometimes even more than 10 hours a week going through this process, like finding all the categories on Amazon. I remember we used to go to all the links on Amazon. We used to copy and paste all those categories. We had an Excel file, so we had an Excel file with like thousands of different categories. And every time we wanted to do, like we would publish maybe one health and fitness book this month, and 6 months later we publish another health fitness book. We'd have to go back and update all the numbers and figure out which categories we could rank for. It just, oh my God, it's such a headache. I'm sure you can imagine how much time that takes when you're publishing multiple books. And so that's why I created this tool, to save me a massive amount of time. And what I realized is that, look, once I created this tool, I realized, look, every single author and publisher out there can use this simple tool to get their books number 1 on Amazon a whole lot faster, to do your market research a whole lot faster, just save you a ton of time. And so that's why I decided to release it to the public and make it available for you. And so here's the cool thing. It just takes the uncertainty out of launching your book, right? Because with Bestseller Ranking Pro, you're going to know exactly what categories are best for your book, how many books you need to sell to hit number 1 or number 20 front page results, or number 100 in any category on Amazon. And you're going to find out exactly how many books your competitors are selling, so you can see how big the market is. So even before you write a book, you can see if a market is actually going to allow you to achieve your financial goals, or if the market is too small. And that's a great gift to have. Right, so what is this worth? I know for my business, it's worth easily several $1,000s every single month, month after month, and extra royalties we're earning because of this. And it's also saving me a ton of labor costs, because honestly, I would never do this anymore. Like doing all this manually, it just takes so much time for all the books we have. So I'd have to hire like a full-time employee to do this for me, and that would cost a lot more than $1,000 a month, right? So it's going to save you a ton of time and money. And this system will work for you. So here's Ann Wolfinger. She's a best-selling author of the HCG Diet Quick Start Cookbook, and she said, look, Bestseller Ranking Pro takes the mystery out of Amazon rankings like nothing else I've seen. It gives authors and publishers a serious edge on the competition. Do yourself a favor and grab it while you can. You'll save yourself a boatload of time and uncertainty, not to mention downright frustration spent wondering why someone else's book zoomed to the top on Amazon while yours never got off the ground. Other students, David Brinson posted, hey, his book is number 1 on Amazon UK post-apocalyptic bestseller chart. There's the screenshots. Barry Silver wrote his number 1 in risk management, number 1 in communication management, number 1 in management science on day 1, thanks to Bestseller Ranking Pro. And you can see here his paid sales ranking was 3,842. So you can actually use that Amazon book calculator link I gave you before, type in that number, and you'll see exactly how many sales he sold on his book on day 1 at that point that he posted that screenshot. which I think is just really cool. Lee Fowler wrote, "Hey, happy to report her client hit #1 in Amazon's free category, #4 another, #13 another on day 1 of their launch." And then she posted again, she's done 2 other book launches. One was a pre-order book at full price. One was a 99-cent book. They were all in different parent categories. So one was marketing advertising, one was diet health, and the first one was fiction. And every single book she launched for her clients with Bestseller Ranking Pro hit #1 on launch day. Jeanette is a mom on a mission. So I know some of you folks, maybe the money's not the big deal for you. You really just want to have an impact, right? And that's really my passion is like, yeah, I want financial freedom from publishing books, but I also want to be able to help people and make a difference. And Jeanette is a mom on a mission. She's on a mission to help stop baby adoption, human trafficking that's happening all over the world. And she's been able to have a massive impact because her book got #1 on Amazon. She's been featured in all these different media outlets and so forth because of the work that she's doing, because of Bestseller Ranking Pro allowed her to get that extra exposure and that extra credibility for the really important mission that she has. So she's not in it for the money. She wants to help people make a difference, and Bestseller Ranking Pro helped her do that in a big, big way. So here's a quick summary of what Bestseller Ranking Pro does. So it tracks all 28,700 bestseller lists on Amazon in the US and the UK for ebooks, print books, and audiobooks. It's organized by competitiveness. It's got that quick and easy search function, so you don't have to browse through all 2,975 miscellaneous categories on Amazon. You can just type the search function and see all the miscellaneous categories. Are there any ones related to romance or health or dieting or whatever you're looking for? It automatically calculates exactly how many sales you need to hit #1 using the world's most accurate Amazon sales rank algorithm model. And I'm a little bit behind schedule, so I'm not going to go into the details of how that works, but it is by far the most accurate Amazon sales rank model ever. Like, other than Amazon's model, like, it's accurate within 6%. It's so much more accurate. If you ever looked at some other Kindle calculators, sales calculators out there for Amazon, this one is more accurate by far. Because we just have a ton more data of all the books we've published and what we've done. It also links directly to each bestseller category page on Amazon, so you can do all your market research with one simple click instead of browsing through all of Amazon's different categories and their very crazily organized hierarchy, right? So here's what you get when you join Bestseller Ranking Pro today. You get lifetime access to Bestseller Ranking Pro and all the tools that it comes with. You can get the 30+ video lessons and step-by-step tutorials that come in the members area to walk you through the process I taught you today, and a whole lot more advanced stuff, things like keyword categories, all kinds of different categories that you can use to get more exposure for your book on Amazon. You're going to get access to our private members only Facebook group where you can, connect with people who are in the game, who are publishing books, who are in your market, who can show you, what's working, right? And can also, do joint ventures. So we've had a lot of folks in our group, cross promote through email lists and help each other and their book launches and so forth, right? Because you can find people in your market, in your niche, who are really active. Like, these are not people who are just dabbling. These are like my high-end students who are really active publishers and can really help you work together to build your business, right? You'll also get weekly bestseller ranking updates with the new categories and all the changes from Amazon. So we've got a special section in Bestseller Ranking Pro. You can see all the brand new categories on Amazon. So if you're looking for the categories that are not competitive, the brand new ones, you can find those as well. It's got the detailed market analysis and research videos for every single niche and genre. So what this is I actually kind of walk you through the process I walked you through today with, the Mate Seeking book and some other books. And I walk you through, actually in a lot more detail, all the major markets. So the romance market, sci-fi market, self-help, children's books, etc. And I have a detailed video training where I walk you through this market. I'm browsing the bestseller list on Amazon. I'm looking at what makes a good book cover in this market. What makes a good title in this market? How do you write good book descriptions? Who is your customer demographics? How do you market to those customers? What kind of distribution should you have in that market? What kind of formats should your book be in to maximize your revenue in those markets, and so on and so forth. And that alone is easily worth the price of Bestseller Ranking Pro and more, because that's basically like your road print to being successful in your market is what these market analysis videos do. You're also going to get a bonus training on getting Amazon to list your book in extra special Kindle keyword categories and short reads categories, right? So that's some new stuff we added to Bestseller Ranking Pro a couple of weeks ago, and that's awesome as well. So that's just more extra categories and more extra exposure you'll get. So if you guys are ready to sign up and join Bestseller Ranking Pro, you can go to tckpublishing.com/Scott to go ahead and check out, get started, and start using it right now. Now, there's a lot more I'm going to share with you today as a gift to Steve. We've been working together. We kind of started on Amazon, around the same time, and we've been working together for many years. And he's given me so many ideas that help me grow my business and sell more books. And so, anytime I can help him out and help, his audience and help you guys sell more books, I want to do that. And so what I've decided to do is add in a couple of bonuses to help you get even more results faster as you're publishing your books. And so the bonus number one is the Email Marketing Mastery video training course. And the reason this is the number one bonus I want to give you is because it is so crucial that you have an email list. Like Steve knows this. And if you've followed him, that's what he does. He does email marketing. That's what I do. I do email marketing. All the top self-published authors I know who are doing 6 figures or 7 figures or more self-publishing books, they all have email lists. Every single one, right? Why? Because it works. Email marketing has an average return on investment according to some data. I don't have it on the slides, but in other presentations I have the data and the slides and the citation and everything. A 38x return on investment. 38x return on investment for email marketing. That means on average, every $1 a business person spends investing in email marketing for their business, they earn on average $39 in sales. So every $1 you spend, you earn $39 in sales on average with email marketing. Now, those aren't sales that are going to come from day one. Where you get the value is you get the value in the long term, right? So let's say you launch your first book, you sell 1,000 books, right? You get 100 new email subscribers to your list. And when you launch your second book, you've now got 100 email subscribers. They're one click away from hearing about your new book launch. So when you launch your second book, you email 100 people who read your first book and say, hey, book 2 is now available. And now you have 20, 30, 40 new sales in one day. Right? And as you saw the ranking numbers before, you know that 30, 40 sales in one day will get you number one in about 70 to 80% of the categories on Amazon, easily number one in most of the categories on Amazon with an email list of only 100 people, right? It's a very small list, very small audience, but it can have huge results and get you number one really, really fast on Amazon. So, I think email marketing is not just great for book launches. It's like the number one most profitable long-term marketing strategy that exists. I think every author should be doing it. And so I want to give you the step-by-step tools so you can learn this right now. So the course comes with a step-by-step training on setting up your email list, how to get your first 1,000 email subscribers, how to make your book launches wildly successful with some awesome email marketing campaigns and follow-up series. And by the way, there's no tech or web experience needed at all to go through this course. So just like I demoed you today, on the computer, you can see where I click on Amazon to go here. You can see where the product details are in each book because I showed you on the screen. I do that same thing, except a little bit more slow and a little bit more deliberate, so you can follow along the entire process through the training videos in this course. So not only do I show you how to build your email list in this course, but I just take it for granted that you need to know how to have an author website. So the first thing we do in the course, if you don't have an author website yet, is we'll help you set up your author website as well. So you can build your own professional, amazing looking author website for less than $50 to get, it's a website you own. So then you can start building your email list on your website. This course is amazing. And if you don't have an author website yet, if you don't have an email list yet, this course is going to have you done, check on both accounts. And have you really building your business the right way. Because, for example, I've got a client, actually the author of the book Unlimited Memory. He has not built his email list yet. I've been hounding him for years to build his email list. So we've sold over 40,000 copies of that book, and he hasn't been building his email list from that book. But luckily, I've been building my email list from that book for the publishing company because I know what I'm doing. Right. And so he missed out on a huge opportunity there. And so I don't want you to miss out on that opportunity, because if you have 40,000 sales for a book, that's at least 4,000 new email subscribers. That's really valuable. That's worth tens of thousands of dollars, right? So don't miss out. Start from day one. Even if you're a brand new author, start building your email list from day one. It will make huge, huge difference in your long-term results. Okay, fast action bonus number 2, you're gonna get the members only Q&A sessions with me. That's where you can ask any questions about marketing, promotions, bestseller lists, writing books, whatever you want. And I give you detailed research information. So I created this because some of my high-end students in Bestseller Pro were asking me questions that I never even heard before. I mean, they asked me stuff like, how do you get distribution into libraries? This was years ago. How to get distribution into libraries, how to find literary agents, how to do foreign language rights deals, all this stuff. And it's not really what the course is all about. The course is really focused on how to get number one on Amazon. But once my students started getting number one on Amazon, they wanted to know how to do more and more and more cool stuff in the industry. And so what I do is when I get a question like that from you, first of all, I'm going to answer all your questions. So if you guys send us an email, support ticket, whatever, we're going to make sure you get all your information you need to succeed. But the Q&A sessions just kind of go into more detail on those really advanced topics that some of our students ask. So if you want to grow your business beyond just being a number one bestseller, that's what that really does for you. That's section bonus number 3. You can get my top 6 interviews with best-selling authors. You're going to hear from an author who sold more than 2 million self-published novels, a New York Times bestselling novelist who self-publishes her book. She was a brand new author. She hit the New York Times bestseller list within like a year and a half of publishing her first book, using a really, really cool strategy that anyone publishing fiction and actually folks publishing nonfiction can use as well to have really, really great results. You also hear from an average guy who got 40,000 free downloads for his first book launch and helped launch him and his career to a whole new level. It's a really, really awesome strategy. Okay, now we also have a 30-day no questions asked guarantee. If you're not absolutely thrilled with your investment in Bestseller Ranking Pro, just ask for 100% full money back refund anytime within 30 days. I want to make sure there's no risk for you. You can check it out, you can try it out, you can use it, see if it works for you, and if not, we can part ways and still be friends. It's no problem whatsoever. Now, if you go to the website anytime, lifetime access to Bestseller Ranking Pro right now is $297. Very special offer for you today, just for Steve Scott's audience, is $197. And this offer is only available right now live on the webinar, and only until Tuesday, January 17th at midnight Pacific Standard Time. At that point, the special offer, the discounts, the bonuses, they're gone, and the price goes up. You can buy it on the website anytime you want, but if you want the special discount and the bonuses, you got to take action now. Go to tscapepublishing.com/Scott to get started, and we're going to jump into questions real soon here. So just a quick summary before we get into questions. Make sure you understand everything you're going to get so it's crystal clear, so you know what to expect and you can get the great results you need to be successful and get your book to #1 on Amazon. So the regular price is $297. You're going to get it for $197 only, plus these special bonuses. So you can get lifetime access to Bestseller Ranking Pro. You can get lifetime updates automatically. So there's no downloads required. As you saw, all I did was go into the website, I click the rankings, I find the rankings right away, right? There's no crazy complicated software you have to download. There's no updates, that you constantly have to download a new update. It's so simple, so easy to use. I want to make it so easy that anyone can use it and anyone can get great results, and it's not a hassle for you. I don't know if you've got other software tools before, but I find software is a huge pain in the butt, and the Bestseller Ranking Pro is so easy, so smooth, so awesome way it functions. It doesn't take you time to use it. It's really quick and really easy, because that's what I need for my own business, right? When I need to use Bestseller Ranking Pro, I just log in the member area just like you guys do, and we use it for our business. That's how we use it, right? Because it's the fastest, most efficient way to do it, to get things done. You're also going to get the Email Marketing Mastery video training course bonus. You can get the Bestseller Ranking Pro Q&A sessions bonus. You can get the top 6 interviews with best-selling authors, and you're going to get lifetime access to our members-only Facebook group. And you're going to get our advanced new training on Amazon's extra categories, keyword categories, and short reach categories for even more exposure for your book. So the place to go is tscapepublishing.com/Scott to get this special offer and all the bonuses right now. And I know it looks like a lot of you folks have already done that. So thank you so much for joining. I'm really looking forward to working with you all. And let's go ahead and dive into the questions now. Wow, so many comments in the chat box. Thank you guys for that. I really appreciate your awesome comments. So let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. I'm going to browse through and find. And Steve, if you see any relevant questions you want me to answer, just go ahead and let me know.
Sure thing. Let me start by thanking you for that excellent presentation, Tom. That was a lot of information packed into about an hour and a half. So great job there.
Yeah, thank you. And sorry, I normally it's a little bit shorter, but I'm just on fire today, guys. I'm excited. There's a lot of growth going on in the business right now. Huge growth on Amazon right now, and I'm just excited to share what works. Like I hope you can tell I'm passionate about this. I love what I'm doing, and excited to answer your questions. So let's jump right in. Jonathan Banks asked, how do you make money by selling through Kindle Unlimited? Okay, so Kindle Unlimited is, for those of you who don't know, it's a program that's available only to authors in KDP Select. When you enroll your book in KDP Select, it's an exclusive 90-day contract with Amazon. Your ebook will only be available for sale on Amazon Kindle. So you can't sell your ebook on your own website or on Barnes & Nobles, etc. And when you're in that program, what Amazon does is any customers who subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, they pay like $10 a month. They get to read unlimited amounts of books that are in the Kindle Unlimited program, which your book can be if you're in Kindle KDP Select. And so how you make money by selling through Kindle Unlimited is a couple of ways. So first of all, Amazon estimates the KENP, which is like the Kindle estimated number of pages read. So if you publish your book, Jonathan, on Kindle, you log into your account, you will see the KENP for your book for this month and last month and so forth. And you get paid on that based on like a pool. So Amazon has like a pool of like, I don't know, $15 million or whatever. And then they divide, and let's say there's like, 100 million pages read. So they divide the amount of money by the number of pages read, and then they portion it out pro rata. So that means, if you have more KENP, more pages read for your books for free through the Kindle Unlimited program than other folks, you're going to get a bigger share of that money pool. So that's one way you earn money from Kindle Unlimited. The other way you earn money from Kindle Unlimited is by improving your Amazon bestsellers rank. So so when people download your book for free and they read the pages, Amazon counts those as sales. So what I found is that on average, about 60% of the pages read is like it's kind of hard to explain the math, but and I don't want to confuse you guys, but basically a certain percentage of your pages read is going to convert into sales. And so if you have like 1,000 pages read and you've got 160 page book, that's probably about for 1,000 pages read, 160 page book, that's about 10 sales or so, right? So 10 new sales that month you got in the Amazon bestseller ranking algorithm because of those KENP, right? And so what that does, it increases your Amazon bestsellers rank. So you rank better in your categories, you rank better for keywords, you have more sales momentum, you get more reviews because you're in the Kindle Unlimited program. The other way that being KDP Select helps you make more money is you can use things like Kindle countdown deals, which are an amazingly successful way to promote your book. I know Steve does these all the time. We do these all the time. They're incredibly profitable, really great promotions. The Kindle KDP Select Kindle countdown deals work really, really well to help you sell more books. So those are kind of the three ways that Kindle Unlimited / KDP Select help you actually earn more money.
Real quick, there's a question from, I guess, Drobel. I'm not too sure. The names are a little bit condensed on this platform, but he just simply asked, how do you watch this again? And we will be sending out a webinar replay link probably either late tonight or early tomorrow. So definitely look at your inbox for that.
Yes, definitely. And by the way, I just posted the link to the checkout page in the chat box. So go ahead, and if you just want to click the link to check out, you can do that, or just type in the link on the screen. So Sally asked, if I publish at Amazon.com and Amazon UK, do they have different categories, and do I get to choose different ones for different markets? Sally, that's a great question. So it kind of depends on where you're based. So I'm just going to assume you're based in the US. So if you're a US publisher, you have a US bank account, you're in the US market, your KDP account is in the US. And so the main categories you're going to pick are for the US. If you're based in the UK, the main categories you're going to pick, depending on how you set up your business, could be in the UK or the US. So I recommend for everyone, as much as possible, you just focus on the US categories if you're publishing in English, because that's where you're going to make the most money. That's where the biggest market is, right? We talked about those numbers earlier. Go ahead.
I guess Drobel had another question. What's the best way to change the category for your book?
Yeah, great question. So what I recommended before. So step 5 is you simply copy and paste the category from Amazon. If you can find it, a couple times today we couldn't find it. So keep clicking in the best-selling books in the category you're looking at until you see one that has the exact category ranking hierarchy and the product details. Copy and paste that. And send that to KDP support or CreateSpace support and say, change my book to these categories. Or if you have Bestseller Ranking Pro, you just copy it straight from Bestseller Ranking Pro, send that email to Amazon in the customer support tab, and they'll change that category for you right away. And the reason you need to do that is, number one, it's going to save you a lot of time. And number two, you can't select all the categories that actually exist in KDP or in CreateSpace, right? So remember, less than half the categories that customers are browsing on Amazon and Kindle are actually available in your KDP dashboard, right? And actually Amazon just updated this like 3-4 weeks ago. They actually made an update and actually made their category hierarchy in the KDP dashboard a little bit better, and it's still terrible, right? It's still less than half the categories that actually exist. You can list them in, so it's better, but it's not nearly good yet. So that's why I recommend just send that simple email. It'll save you a ton of time.
Cool. There's another question. Some of these names are hard to pronounce. It's Dise Rio. Hopefully I did a good enough job pronouncing it. It's a simple question of, please explain pre-orders. I can answer that really quick. If you just go into Amazon, when you go to publish your book, you can actually elect to have it sold for pre-order, and you could set up a pre-order for a year from now. But the trick is, you absolutely positively have to make sure that your book is ready within a couple days of the pre-order date. Otherwise, they're going to completely remove your ability to have pre-orders for a whole year. Now, a pre-order is just simply it creates a listing page that people can go and buy your book in advance. And actually, I did that for my most recent book, where I picked up about 50 extra sales just by putting a pre-order about a month beforehand. But If you're pretty confident that you know when a date when your book is ready and you already have a cover, I would say pre-orders are probably a good idea to just have it out there and start building that customer base.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. I think pre-orders are a great way to sell more books, especially, but you have to have, again, you have to have the book cover, you have to have a good book description, the title, you have to have all that set up, the metadata done before you publish it.
Yeah.
And also, I think, just a quick correction, I think I'm not sure, but last I checked, it was you can only pre-order a book for 90 days in advance. So like,
Oh, really? Okay.
if
I,
today is like January 15th, the earliest you can release your book for pre-order is like April 15th. So I'm
cool.
pretty sure you
Yeah.
only get 90 days windowed there for KDP for pre-orders.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense to even have a year, but yeah, I just did it for a month, so it worked like a charm, and I was able to kind of direct people to the page. And what also benefited me for the pre-order is once you have the pre-order page, you can start to kind of get the ball rolling with ACX for your audiobook and create space for your print book, and actually have them pretty much ready to go as soon as your book is launched, which is kind of nice. But
Absolutely,
that's
yeah.
all.
We've been kind of trying to do that as well. It helps to line it up because it's so much faster to publish an ebook than it is to do the print book and the audiobook. They take a lot longer. So if you pre-order
Yeah,
the ebook first, like you said, the publishing timeline matches up, and that's great.
yeah, definitely.
So Vivek asked, does the five-step process apply for printed books? So absolutely. So the only reason I just walk you through the numbers for Kindle ebooks today is just so you wouldn't get confused. Because when you go to that calculator or when you look at the sales rankings on Amazon for a Kindle book versus a print book, the numbers are the same. So one book might say, number one in Kindle store, another book might say number one in bookstore. But the actual algorithm that translates that sales ranking to actual sales results is different, because a different amount of physical books is sold versus a different amount of ebooks, right? So Amazon's selling right now about 2 ebooks for every 1 physical book they're selling. So the numbers are different. So that's why I kind of just focus on Kindle for the presentation. But the calculator, Bestseller Ranking Pro, it's got all the print book categories. The numbers are all set up for print book sales, so you can estimate exactly how many print book sales work. And this exact same 5-step process will work for you. The market research, the cover design, the reviews, all that stuff is exactly what you should do for ebooks, print books, or audiobooks, right? Again, it's just focusing on the fundamentals, and I just focus on fundamentals like a crystal clear microscope on ebooks, because it's just easier for everyone to understand. That way, so there's a little less confusion.
Jonathan Banks had another question. He asks, if you sell books when you speak at a local event, how do you get these to count towards your rankings? And that's one I actually have no idea if that's even possible. Do you know, Tom?
Yes, a good question. So it depends where you're speaking. So if you're speaking at like a local library or a local business, you can actually have the library or the bookstore or the local business buy your books from Amazon, and that will improve your ranking. So you say, hey, like just buy my books on Amazon here, and then have them at the event. Now, not everyone's going to do that. So if they're not going to do that, then there's probably not really a way you can actually get sales rankings on Amazon for your books. You can have to buy the books yourself and sell them. So in that case, if you're going to buy the books yourself, if you're using Create Space or a printer, have the printer ship the books to you, and then you just show up at the event with your box of books. But if you can get the bookstore or the library to order the books for you on Amazon, most of them will do that. And that counts for your sales, which is really, really cool.
Actually, let me jump in real quick. What also helps me, it's not really the same thing because it's not a live event, but whenever I do podcast interviews, I simply just create a really short, easy to remember URL redirect. It's something like habitbooks.com, and I would recommend doing something like that where you just make it really easy for people just to type in a web address and it'll go automatically to your author page on Amazon. So jonathanbanksbooks.com or something, or banksbooks.com or something like that, where it's just really super easy, where someone can just jot it down and go right to your books.
Yeah, I recommend everyone do that as well. It's like, so my link is actually amazon.com/author/business, and that takes you to online book pages on Amazon. So
Nice.
having that like easy URL is easy for people to remember, definitely helps a lot for sure. So Stephen asked, how do I reorder my books categories as shown in the books listing page? So that's a really interesting question. I've actually never had anyone ask that question before. So I don't know. What I would do is I would just email KDP support, and I would say, hey, can you change the categories? I don't tell them to change the categories. Say, can you rearrange the categories so that these ones are the 3 shown here? And I would probably include screenshots and stuff, because honestly, a lot of their support team doesn't seem to be the brightest necessarily. in terms of really understanding. Like if you're not really crystal clear on what you want, they're not always going to give you exactly what you want. So if you ask them to change your categories, they might actually like remove certain categories and add other ones. So be as specific as possible in that email and tell them what you want them to do, Stephen, and they'll let you know if that's possible or not. Awesome. So many great comments. Someone saying the most practical webinar I've ever viewed.
Nice.
So I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but asked about the subject matter. Does the subject matter of the book matter as much as I think it does? Um, I'm not really sure in what way you mean, but so if you follow this process that we've talked about, like doing step 2, the market research, understanding, what market are you going into, you're reading the reviews, understanding what your customers want and what your customers don't want, that will kind of tell you what subject matter needs to be in your book and what subject matter shouldn't be in your book for that specific market. So in that regards, I think it's subject matter of your book is really important. Like what content you put in your book is really, really important, and it differs from market to market. The way you write an epic fantasy novel is completely different in terms of the content in the book than the way you would create and the information that would be in a self-help book or a romance novel or another type of book, right? So it's kind of a general question, but I hope that helps.
There's another one that says, is tgray9995. Do you use the giveaway program? That's something I've been meaning to do. It's on my ever-growing to-do list, but have you tried it?
Um, no, actually, I haven't done the Amazon giveaway. So my opinion on it is that that giveaway was really created for business owners and for contests. So basically, like, there's this huge thing going on in the online marketing community, like on Facebook and stuff. Like, people will be like, "Oh, we're giving away an iPad," right? And so what they do is they use that to build their email list or to build their fans or build their YouTube subscribers. Like, subscribe to my channel on YouTube and you'll get a free iPad, right? One winner, right? And so Amazon's basically just kind of they're smart. They just want to kind of go with that trend and say, hey, look, if you want to give away stuff to your audience to build your audience, you can give away our stuff and we'll make more money for it, right? So that's kind of the point of the Amazon giveaway program, is to connect with like social media influencers and marketers and business owners who want to give away stuff. So, one way you could potentially use that to sell more books is you could find, the top Instagram accounts, the top Facebook pages, the top Twitter accounts that are talking about your subject matter or, your type of book, your niche, your genre, and say, hey, have you ever thought about giving an Amazon giveaway to your audience? You could use my book for it. But honestly, in most of those cases, what I'd rather do is just try to build a relationship with those people instead of trying to pitch them on doing a giveaway. Because if you build a relationship first, they're more likely to, stay with you and promote you. And, uh, you know, if you just, connect with someone new on the internet and just say, hey, sell my stuff, sell my stuff, sell my stuff, it's not always going to work very well. But if you kind of build that relationship on the front end, it'll work better in the long term for you.
Looking through the questions, see if I'm missing anyone. What if I write in a book other than English? That one's hard. It really depends on the market. I know the Brazil market's pretty good. German market is probably the best that's out there, but some of the other ebook markets are not as vibrant as the English language. What's been your experience, Tom? I know you publish a lot more frequently than I do.
Yeah, sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Oh, it's what if I write a book in a language other than English? So if I
Oh,
guess
right.
you're just trying to promote a book in a different language, like I guess Spanish or German or Portuguese.
Yes, so English is the biggest. Spanish and Portuguese and German are the next three. Um, I haven't had a ton of experience with it. I've done more of like we have books in English. Other publishers come and they buy the rights to publish our books in other languages. And because
Yeah.
another publisher has kind of licensed those rights for that 5 years, they're doing all the work. I mean, they're doing all the translating. They're doing all the marketing. They know that. Like, I don't know the market in China. Like, I have no idea how to sell books in China, right? But our publisher, who's publishing our book there, they know how to do that, right? And so. If you're going to sell, a book in Chinese or Spanish or German or Portuguese, one of the major languages, you can sell that on Amazon.com. You can post that ebook on Amazon.com. You can do a physical book on Amazon.com and sell that to, people who speak those languages in the U.S. and other countries that Amazon distributes. But that's a very small percentage of the market, right? It's a very small percentage of the market. So the good news is that there's not a lot of people doing that. So even though it's a small market, you can kind of stand out. Like, there's not a lot of competition. But in terms of picking the right bestseller categories, again, you would just do the same thing you do with an English book. Just pick the most relevant categories. But if you're in a really tiny market, or sorry, if you're publishing in Spanish, for example, you have a smaller demographic of readers on Amazon who would be interested in buying your books. So you probably want to pick the lower, less competitive categories because you're not going to get as many sales. So sorry, I can't be more helpful with that, but yeah, I mean, I just don't have a ton of experience, marketing other books in other languages, because usually I have other publishers do that for us.
I have a little bit. I actually translated a bunch of my books into Brazilian Portuguese. I just found for some reason that market did pretty well for me. So even though my books have kind of been at the top of the charts on Amazon, Amazon.com.br, I would say it only generates upwards of $2,000 a month. So it wasn't a lot when compared to the United States or the United Kingdom. So if you could put your books in another language like Portuguese, then it's worth doing. But for the most part, I would say try it if you can to focus your efforts on English. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Let's
Yeah, if you guys have
see.
any final questions, go ahead and type them in now. We'll make sure to answer all of your questions. So Nia Sisk, I think, asked, I
Oh,
noticed
nice.
business books sell better than children's books, for instance. So that's not entirely true. So, the business book market is a very big market, and the children's book market is kind of a big fragmented market, right? So the thing with children's books is like you say children's book, and most people think like a physical like cardboard board book that's like for 5 or 6 year olds. You open up, there's like pictures and like one or two sentences per page, right? But the actual children's book market is much more than that. Like there's children's books for all the different age groups, from like toddlers on up. There's children's literature, like things like Harry Potter is a children's book and it's like one of the best selling books of all time, right? So I would argue, the children's literature market is kind of bigger than the business book market, just because of Harry Potter, pretty much, and other related books. So there's lots and lots and lots of different niches and subgenres within children's books. So some of those markets are very, very tiny and incredibly difficult to make any money in certain children's books markets, and other children's book markets are just absolutely enormous. So it really depends, which children's book market you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a bunch of books that sell extremely well in a children's books market. So it's kind of like everything else that Tom talked about. It really is category selection and then finding the kind of right market for you. You just can't just say children's book doesn't sell because it definitely does.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean that's why step two is so important, like doing your market research, because when you browse the different children's bestseller lists on Amazon, you'll see like some of these categories, there's tons of books being sold. Some of these categories is like dead. Like you could sell like 25 books and be, front page in a lot of the children's book categories because they're not big categories. And other ones are just massive in that, like Harry Potter, like you're not going to outcompete that.
Yeah.
That's just tough. That's really tough to do because it's so many sales.
Let's see. I think that is it for the questions, unless you see anything else,
Yeah,
Tom.
that's everything I see. There's so many comments. I haven't scrolled all the way to the top to see everything, but if you guys have any final questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box now. I'll get them answered for you. If not, if you're ready to get started with Learning Approach, go to tskpublishing.com/Scott. If you guys have any questions whatsoever about the presentation, you've got support issues, you need help checking out or whatever, you email me personally. I'll be here to respond to you and get you everything you need to succeed. My email is tom@tckpublishing.com. I'm more than happy to help you guys in any way I can. Thank you to everyone for showing up today. I really, really appreciate your time, your energy, your attention. I know it was a long presentation, and I really appreciate all your great comments and hope this was as valuable for you as I hoped it would be. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Tom. I thought it was a great presentation. I know you covered a wealth of information over the condensed period of time, but kind of want to reiterate what Tom said. I appreciate you coming and spending an hour and a half with us today. I know we're all busy, so definitely appreciate your attention, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the Facebook community and through email. So, Tom, if anything else, I guess we're done here.
Yeah, we're good to go. Thank you so much, Steve. Thanks for everyone for showing up today. Looking forward to working with you, everyone who signed up, and wishing you all an incredible day. Take care.
All right, bye, guys.